In the heart of Paris, under the blazing June sun and the weight of 1,000 expectations, Carlos Alcaraz stood on the edge of history, not for the first time in his young career, but in a way that demanded something new, something he had never done before. Before him stood Jannik Sinner, the cool, methodical machine from South Tyrol. The newly crowned world number 1, the man who had carved through the draw like a surgeon with a scalpel. And for 2 full sets, it looked as though Sinner would carve Alcaraz, too, into a footnote. Into the vanquished. But Carlos Alcaraz was not born to be a footnote. He was born to write chapters. Epics. Myths. This Roland Garros final wasn't just a tennis match. It was a war of wills, a collision of destinies, a test of the spirit more than the flesh. And in the cauldron of Court Philippe Chatrier, Alcaraz did something few men have done on that sacred clay. He came back from 2 sets to love down in a Grand Slam final. For the first time. For everything. Yes, he saved 3 championship points along the way. Yes, he looked beaten more than once. But the measure of a champion is never in how he starts, it is in how he survives. How he adapts. How he rises. And rise he did. The first 2 sets were pure Sinner. Clinical. Ruthless. Composed. He moved like a shadow, struck like a viper, and carried himself like a man who knew the script. This was supposed to be his coronation. The moment where he silenced any doubt about who ruled men's tennis. But Alcaraz. He doesn't follow scripts. He rips them up. He writes his own, and when he does, the world reads with bated breath. Down 2 sets, looking drained, looking done, he found something. Not just in his legs, but in his soul. A flicker, a flame, then a fire. His eyes sharpened. His feet danced. The racket in his hand became an extension of his will. He began to claw. Not with panic. Not with fury. But with purpose. With poise. He took the 3rd set like a man possessed. Like someone who refused to believe the night would end without his name etched into the Coupe des Mousquetaires once again. Then came the 4th. A brutal, grinding marathon that tested both bodies and minds. They traded blows like prizefighters, each rally a round, each point a punch. And then came the moment, match point for Sinner. 1 point away. 3 times. But destiny, that old romantic, had other plans. Alcaraz saved 1. Then another. Then 1 more. And with each save, the crowd grew louder. With each roar, belief surged. He took the 4th. And then the 5th. My God, the 5th, was a masterpiece. Where others would have crumbled, Alcaraz soared. He unleashed forehands that bent physics, backhands that carved corners, drop shots so soft they kissed the clay. Sinner, brave as ever, fought. He fought with heart. But something had shifted. The tide had turned. This was no longer a battle. It was a coronation, just not the one most had predicted. 5 hours and 27 minutes. That's what it took. But when it was over, Carlos Alcaraz fell to his knees not just as a champion but as a legend. He didn't just win Roland Garros. He survived it. He conquered it. He owned it. And in doing so, he echoed something that once haunted Roger Federer. For many years, Federer, the elegant maestro, had one Achilles heel. A man from Spain named Rafael Nadal. On the red clay of Roland Garros, no matter how well Federer played, Nadal always found something more. Time after time, Federer would lead. Time after time, Nadal would break his heart. And now, Sinner knows that feeling. Because time after time, when Sinner seems on the brink of solving the Alcaraz puzzle, Carlos finds a new piece. Time after time, just when Sinner looks like the better man, Alcaraz becomes something. More than a man, he becomes inevitable. This was not their first duel. But it may be the one that defines their rivalry for decades. This was where Carlos proved not only that he could win when ahead, but that he could endure when behind. That he could suffer, bleed, dig, rise. Their head-to-head now takes on a mythic weight, like Borg versus McEnroe, Nadal versus Djokovic, Federer versus everyone. But unlike those rivalries, this one is still writing its opening chapters. They are both so young, both so hungry. And if this match was any indication, we are in for an era of thunder and brilliance. But tonight, there was only one sun shining in Paris. And it wore the colors of Spain. Carlos Alcaraz didn't just win a title, he cemented a legacy. He became a player who does not run from the brink but charges toward it. He became a player who stares down defeat and says, not yet. Not today. He became, once again, the heart of men's tennis. And when he raised that trophy, his second at Roland Garros, you could see in his eyes not just joy, but gratitude. Not just victory, but understanding. He had been tested like never before. And he had passed. This was no ordinary final. This was a final that people will talk about for years. This was not a match, it was a legend carved in red earth and sweat. Carlos Alcaraz, the boy wonder who is now a man, stood tallest in the City of Light, in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, with the weight of history in his hands. And in that moment, he did not just lift a trophy. He lifted the sport.